Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our webinar on understanding building and fire safety in India. Today, we are joined by the three distinguished experts who bring perspectives from facade design, fire protection, and sustainable architecture. Together, they will share insights on how safety, design, and innovation come together to shape the future of safer buildings in India. We have Mr. Prashanth Gururaj, Associate Director, Fire and Safety DesignTree Service Consultants. Next, we have Mr. Nandakumar, Project Director, Façade, Evermont Project Solutions. We have Ms. Meghna Srivastava, Managing Partner, MAP Architects.
Thank you for having me on this panel. I'm Nandakumar. I'm basically a facade engineer. So I'm a civil engineer by education, and past 20 years I'm into the facade industry, and I run my own consultancy. It's about 6 years old consultancy called Evermont Project Solutions. So we are working on various facade designs as a facade consultants, ranging from like a commercial, mostly on a commercial buildings, ranging from as low as 1 lakh square feet built up area and up to 35 lakh square feet built up areas. So this is my brief introduction. My major strength is facade design, project management, and 3D architecture.
Hi, so I'm Meghna Srivastava. I'm a managing partner at MAP Architects. With over 25 years of experience, I've been able to shape large-scale residential, commercial, and industrial projects. I'm an alumni of Sir J.J. College of Architecture, Mumbai, and I'm also alumni of IIM Bangalore. And I've been able to blend design excellence with some good strategic leadership to deliver sustainable and future-ready built environments. And I'm glad to be on the panel.
I'm Prashanth Gururaj, Associate Director in DesignTree, and I'm a mechanical engineer by profession. And this is my 26th year in the industry on this consultancy and consultancy business. And my forte is fire and life safety, but I am a complete MEP engineer. So I handle complete MEP services, but my major strength is fire and life safety. And thank you all. We will start the interaction.
I'll begin with some curated questions from AECORD. So the first question is for Meghna. How do architects, MEP engineers, and facade consultants need to collaborate from day one to ensure fire safety compliance?
So in any project, if fire safety is discussed only at sanction or execution stage, it is already too late. As architects, we set the building massing, we decide the entry-exit points, refuge spaces, and a lot of other such areas. And if we coordinate early with MEP consultants and facade experts, primarily after the concept closure, we can derive at most robust solution for the fire safety. And if that is missed, we may have shafts which are undersized, we may have refuge balconies which are misplaced, or facade cladding which has less fire rating. So it's wise that we do this early integration and save time, cost, as well as lives.
The next question is for Mr. Prashanth. What common gaps do you see in firefighting system design in India?
There are no such gaps actually in the firefighting design. It is an designer perspective. What I feel, each individual is different. Likewise, the design also varies from one to one. And a national building code is a guideline. We all know that this is unilateral for across India. This is the same law. It is to be applied for across India. However, the local statutory governance bodies, what we call it as fire departments, differ in their choice of requirement and state to state basis based on the vicinity and the jurisdiction what they are looking at. It might differ. So the gaps what you find is in the authority intent, what is required, and perspective of the designer what he is observing and doing. Otherwise, the guideline book is the similar. One same common book is there. IS code is the common similar IS code across India. And if you follow any kind of international laws also, it is similar to everything. It is only the individual perspective, intent, and desire might have a bearing on the system design. That is very known thing across India, which is very evident, and it has been practiced also. Yeah, so I was saying that the gaps are not evident. It is an individual perspective and individual lookout. As we have a common guideline book, which is National Building Code, but the local authority who hold the jurisdiction differ from region to region, and their requirement might change. So we have to amalgamate both the guideline and the local authority requirement. But why? Because the local authority, what he is proposing in intent of jurisdiction, what he is handling. So both are one-to-one interrelated. Gaps are not evident, but we might feel that there are gaps, but it is not an evident gap. It is an understanding what is to be on the common page.
Next question again, Mr. Prashanth. How has NBC 2016 changed fire safety for high rises?
See, NBC 2016 it brought lot of emphasis on the life and the fire and life safety part of it. Okay, when we call fire and life safety, the fire is one element and life safety is another element. All my colleagues or all my industry friends know that, saying that National Building Code do give more value for life safety rather than the fire perspective. Okay, fire perspective defines that you follow IS codes for doing the sprinkler design, you follow IS codes for doing the hydrant design and such that. So you have to once again rely on the IS requirements and Indian standards. IS is Indian standard requirements for design and implementation of the system. Life safety part is very well defined in National Building Code. Even the international laws and guidelines also doesn't have that much of explicit requirement of a life safety part. So two parts, if you consider here, it is 60-40 in the arrangement. 60% is morely on the emphasis on the life safety part. And 2016 also brought a perspective change. Why? Because it has 12 parts. 2016 had 12 parts. Each of the part defines each of the system and each of the building necessity, what was clearly defined out. And as though is it is a guideline, in absence of any other written book, so this guideline forms the prima facie, prima facie law to follow. Okay. Apart from that is the local authorities requirement that is there. So the whole change is the intent towards achieving a much safer and secure building, and having a good environment surrounding, so that we are all in a safe envelope. So this is what NBC 2016 has got.
Okay, the next question is for Mr. Nandakumar. What are the biggest fire risks in facade systems?
Basically the cladding material is the choice of the cladding material is the biggest decision we'll have to make, which will not propagate any kind of fire. So what NBC specifies is whatever material we use on the building has to be fire retardant. So the biggest risk on the facade is obviously the aluminum composites panel, which are most of the buildings which are non fire retardant, which are used in India. So, and also the perimeter barriers. So between the floor to floor, the fire separation. So we will have to consider at least a minimum of 2 hours fire rated systems. So these two things are the biggest risks I feel. And one more is may not be a very high risk, but the consideration of the spandrel panel and the height of the spandrel panel in the facade. So that is one more thing.
Okay, next question is for Meghna, the question to you is, does fire safety limit architectural aesthetics?
Not really. I think we as architects know how to balance the mandatory requirement towards a premise of these kind of buildings, the mandated spaces that we need to provision for, and the aesthetics are separately handled. Of course, there's no compromise to any of these. So, for example, a refuge area which is considered to be it's a mandated area where you have to create a protected space in high-rise buildings, and the people who are living in the building are allowed to have emergency exits from these refuge areas. They are allowed to await a certain help that can come for safe evacuation. These areas have to be provisioned. There is a huge calculation that goes into understand what these refuge areas will be like for every high rise, and they have to be provisioned. Of course, a good amount of understanding has to be provided for the developers to accommodate these in their projects and create optimized livable areas.
The next question is from Mr. Prashanth. What's the balance between active measures and passive measures?
The compartment walls, once again, we have to thank National Building Code 2016, which brought up a very important part of the development, which is called as compartmentation. Okay, this compartmentation, various means and ways are there to achieve this compartmentation. I don't get into the details of saying that what is the area requirement for compartmentation and so on. So what you actually put up is the active measure and then passive measure. Active is a sprinkler. In case of fire, upon activation of fire, then only the sprinkler activates, because sprinkler is within a thermostat bulb or Ethusian bulb, what we call. This Ethusian bulb records the temperature, feels the temperature and the surrounding temperature. When the surrounding temperature increases, this burst open and allow the water to flow through it. The compartmentation will activate upon the activation of sprinkler or upon the activation of the smoke device. So we all talk about there is no smoke without the fire kind of a thing situation. So if there is any fire, before to the fire there is smoke, and smoke will trigger the fire alarm system. Based on the fire alarm system trigger, this compartmentation can be activated. As I said, there are multiple ways of compartmentation. One of the ways of compartmentation is by drop-down curtains, drop-down fire and smoke curtains. Wall is a physical compartmentation, whereas there is no, that it becomes a complete barrier for visual indication also. So architects that don't prefer wall, the solid wall or in block work kind of a thing. It is normally through glass, which can see through glass, which is a fire-rated glass. It is a drop-down curtain, fire or smoke drop-down curtain, and it is by through in the basement, where in the car parking areas we can through by water curtain nozzles. All these three options, opportunities are given in National Building Code to exhibit to utilize for our utilization. So we utilize that one for compartmentation process. So this compartmentation largely helps in evacuation of the building. As I said, fire and life safety is given more importance in the National Building Code. Giving more importance and emphasis for that one, this compartmentation plays a vital role. It ease out on the evacuation process. Active measures, when there is any fire only that gets activated. Otherwise, it is as standstill as it is.
Okay, the next question again is to Mr. Prashanth. Should we adopt international codes like NFPA or just follow NBC?
See, the NBC is also a lot of leaflet has been taken from National Fire Prevention Association. Okay. I don't say it is just a copy paste of that one. It is never a copy paste. It is with that being part of the NBC committee and NBC guideline writing, we never copied anything from NFPA. But definitely there are things which is we have taken as in key points or key the understandings from NFPA. I won't say that NFPA is more superior than NBC. As I can say, NFPA gives more importance to the system to the active systems like the sprinkler and hydrant system are different kind of an suppression systems. NFPA 72 also talks about mass communication and fire alarm system. So we have a vast subject as an NFPA for implementation in any of the aspects of the active fire suppression system, if you look at. But following the land of law requirement, National Building Code is as equivalent or very robust with regards to the life safety part of it. So as a consultant, if you ask me, it is that we pick up the very good things out of everything. So NFPA has something good things, and we have NBC also, which is having some good things. We pick up each and we start to inculcate in our project. Should we adopt NFPA? It is already adopted or already utilized in National Building Code. Yes, for active systems, if any kind of the clientele or any end customer ask you to do, definitely you can adopt international codes like NFPA or factory mutual or such and such like that. Otherwise, land of law requirement and hold your head strong. NBC is more than sufficient for keeping your building safe and keeping you as safe.
So only one thing I have is I think we will have to give little more importance for the tested systems. Like we have a like fire rated testing on few materials. So so that testing has to be done in the authorized labs and so and those specifications has to be little more clearer. For example, if you are doing a perimeter, the slab edge fire stops and smoke seals. So what should be the like density and the thickness which has to be used, and what are the ingredients which should not be there. So little more detailing of that or specific things. I think it should be more specific, because right now in NBC 2016 we have a very generic thing, like if there should be a fire stop, that's all. So and 2 hour it should be rated, but and there is a lot of confusions with like mainly when we specify that, but what actually goes into the building is whichever is the most economical one, and which may not exactly serve the purpose. So that is one thing which I feel.
I take your point with regards to the fire stop. If there is any particular clear definition we can give, it is very good. You are saying definitely we will work on that one. And currently we have BS standards, that is British standards, what we are utilizing for the partitions and stoppers. But definitely there is the Bureau of Indian Standards is working on releasing an AECORD, Indian Standard codes for passive fire protection and application of paints and the stoppages and other things. I will definitely take this point and see what best I can do from this.
So we have this new code which has come, IS 18193, which talks about the fire, the barriers, mainly for the facade, the slab edge, perimeter barriers and all that. So that I think at least reference to that code should be at least there in the NBC, the new NBC which is going to come out.
Yes, I will try to take this point.
From my side, Prashanth, I feel with so much advancement in technology and a lot of this AI buzz that we are already into, is there some kind of a predictive analysis possible where some fire detection is done early on, some data-driven decision-making that can allow better prevention and response to fire hazards that we deal with? So that's getting the technology involved and ensuring these DMS systems and all are really optimized well for safer environments to be created.
The point well noted, and that is where we are also driving for. The upcoming NBC updation will talk about performance-oriented design rather than a systematic approach. So this performance-oriented design will give more emphasis to architectural features and architectural lookout, saying that, for example, Terminal 2 of Bangalore International Airport Terminal 2, whomever goes there, they question saying that how come they used wood across the Terminal 2 and call it as a fire safe environment. So it is that all these woods are seasoned and it is fire retarded. So that is why it has been used there. And how to make that one possible, it is a process by itself. But once again, there is an iota of clarity required or doubt in everybody's mind, saying that when I do the wood building or a composite building, there is a lot of questions. How can an airport be like that? So this clarity will come up. This is called as performance-oriented buildings. This clarity will come up in the upcoming National Building Code, and lot of liberty will be given to architects like you to explore and show your exuberance lately. Yeah.
That will be really nice. And also, while we are talking about this, we hear a lot about the high pressure water mist systems. Now, we all know that these systems disperse some fine water droplets and they create effective and potentially more humid environment, more eco-friendly ways of space planning. So I just wanted to understand, can we look at future of the sprinkler system to be converted to the water mist system, which also allows some amount of water to be continuously dispersed into the spaces, and in times of difficulty or in times of fire, it does what it's supposed to do. So can we integrate some kind of technologies like these?
Yes, water mist, high pressure water mist system, still it is prevalent in National Building Code also, and we apply that one. But part of it is what you are seeing as the buildings. We might not use that one. There is a possibility of using a high pressure water mist system for a data center, or high pressure water mist system for an application in the industries like a furnace plant or a steel manufacturing or paper manufacturing, very high hazard environments like that, like an automation, like an automobile industry. In automobile industry, we have paint shop, we have press shop, we have furnace shop and other things. All these places we can use water mist system. But applying the water mist system to basically for a residential application, the parameters there. Cost becomes a very crucial thing there. Obviously, the pump capacity increases, type of piping increases, number of sprinkler nozzle. It is not a sprinkler bulb there, it is a sprinkler nozzle for water mist. That comes with a bit of a cost, everything increases. You can say that there is an 40-50% fold of jump in the costing of a only sprinkler system. And we live in urban the environment, or urban cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, or Mumbai. National Building Code, as we have been telling, it is a unilateral across India. You can imagine the same residential project coming up in other states or other tier 2 cities. Because if it is mentioned in National Building Code, do you want us to apply that one? Do you want us to apply that one for every place? It is not going to be possible because of the costing parameter. So that's the hence reason why we cannot go and take a very rational step like mentioning the water mist system in the book and ask the people to follow that one. It will be a forceful indulgence rather than a requirement met as per the necessity. So it will come. There are proximities for you to adopt, but there are certain ways like data center. Every city cannot have a data center, or who is building data center will also have that much of an facility and mobility to spend. So there where the water mist system comes. good point, but limitations are there in India. You do a design, what you do, put it across in Bangalore may not be the same thing for an tier 2 or tier 3 city. Same thing cannot be in Bihar for the simple reasoning.
Yeah, so this question is from Mr. Nandakumar. How are facade materials tested for fire performance in India?
So basically, any material for the fire, there are two things. One is the smoke emission and the droplets. So when we test a material, we check for the smoke, what is the smoke which is emitted and the toxic fumes in that, and also the droplets which will propagate the fire and which will spread it to the neighboring areas. So these are the two things which normally is tested on the facade materials.
Okay, next question is a joint question. Does robust fire safety significantly increase project cost?
If I take this question, people spend on Stanley sofas in the lobbies, and which doesn't make any significant importance to them, but spend a huge sum for an immovable properties and spend huge sum for the furnitures and fixtures and other things. But they look at when they want to spend on the fire safety part of it. The only reason is fire safety doesn't comes into working at every time. You open a tap, water comes, plumbing is working. You switch on the light, switch, and the fan is working. The electricity is working. HVAC, you switch on the air conditioning system, it will be cool, condensed. The air is coming to you. Firefighting system doesn't do anything. Sprinkler is only glaring at you. A detector is only seeing at you. So apart from that, there is nothing which is done from that place. So people are, the mentality, not now, it is earlier, it was still there are around 10% of mentality saying that when it is not at all to be worked, why we have to spend on that? But there is where the rules and regulations, guidelines, and statutories are becoming very strong and robust in making the people to indulge and adopt fire safety system, without which the licenses will not be granted, without which the occupancy certificates will not be given, without which you cannot occupy the building. So like that, there is so much, and nowadays we see the developer market also says that my building is fire compliant and fire safe. This is very, very abnormal to hear too, but they enrose like that nowadays. So cost, it doesn't significantly increase. It is around 2.5 to 4% of the overall project cost is what they're going to spend on fire safety.
So I don't think there is any very significant increase in the cost. So hardly 2 to 3%, as Mr. Prashanth is telling. So I think it is really worth investing that kind of money for the projects, and it is very negligible, I feel. But the cost of fire accidents are like it's priceless. You can't measure that.
I align with both of you. Just that the Stanley example that Prashanth you have given, now we don't get sponsored by Stanley for this event.
Okay, next question is a joint question as well. What is the single most urgent change India needs in fire safety?
Change is on the way, means change is already inculcated into the system. And my fellow panelists will also agree, saying that there are no builder or a realtor or an end customer would say that I don't want fire safety now. So everybody wants it, and they know the repercussions of fire in the building or repercussions if there is any kind of a fire happened in the building. So the change is almost done now. The only thing is adopting it in a better way is what is that everybody looks at. As long as the cheaper availabilities are available, cheaper options are available, people look at cheaper options to just for tick box purpose to provide. But 50% of the people definitely look at a quality thing and they look forward, as for me as a consultant or for architect as Meghna or anybody, to say that we have to be code compliant at any point of a time. We cannot take any chances on that one, and you have to design the building or do a proper study of that one to make it a code compliant and very safe. So we have reached 50%, and the mindset, another 50% is only on the choice of requirement. This is my take on that. Meghna, you can tell, you find any client saying that don't follow codes? Nobody.
I think they want to dodge. Some clients do want to dodge, but they also realize that there are implications of it, and hence they do comply end of the day, and we ensure that they understand the nitty-gritties of getting this compliance done.
Single most change, if you are asking, I think we need to have more and more of education on this subject, and there should be a lot of webinars as such what we are doing currently, and also the suppliers of these fire systems or the fire barriers, etc. So they should be conducting more and more of this kind of seminars and discussions, meeting the clients or the end users, architects, consultants, etc. I think that will take us a long way into getting whatever the remaining 50% whom we are talking about in adopting this fire safety standards strictly.
As you have only mentioned, Deepak, each of the entities are different to its core requirement. Residential, from 8 months to 80 years, anybody can stay. Commercial, there is no possibility of less than 18 years to come there. Commercial in the sense IT, ITES, office spaces, kind of a thing where you and me sit and work. Less than 18 years, nobody can come. Plus 60, 65 years, there are hardly any people to see there. Industrial, you know that one, the age limit to enter inside an industry and other things. Public assembly places is where it is very vulnerable. Why? Because it is a mall, multiplex, cinema halls and other things. Everybody can be there. So each of the entity has a different application, different fire safety requirement. For example, look at a life safety part of it. The staircase width differs from each of the entity. And number of staircase requirements increases. Type of active systems provided drastically increases when it is in general conglomerate of people, and when it is in commercial establishment to industrial establishment. When in industrial there are multiple hazards and other things, we call it low hazard, medium hazard, and high hazard. So every segment it is different. So different approach and different paradigms are driven in National Building Code. How do we approach the design onto that one? What is the necessity? What is the bare minimum requirements we need to follow to make it as a life safe and safe building?
Next question is a joint question as well. Can you cite incidents where design or systems failed?
See, designer systems won't fail. Desire leads to intent, intent leads to the deed. Here, desire is to have a fire-safe building, and then it leads to intent to have an architect and a consultant. And having architect and a consultant not to fulfill the intent is what it leads to a failure of the system. Neither me or Nandakumar or Meghna will start designing a building to be as a failure building. We always look at it as has to be an positive, means in a positive frame of mind, saying that it should be an code compliant and fire safe or any kind of a safe building it is. But we might not, but the third parties might lose the intent at midway and start to cut corners by looking at cheaper versions or cheaper availabilities of things. And sometimes time also kills them. Why? Because they would have promised to fulfill complete within certain timelines. They might have delayed for that one. So multiple reasons for any kind of a failure, not because of an design is wrongly done. for a failure to occur. It could not be a situation. Incidents, there are several incidents. Latest, you can see the Air India flight, as when it took off, it came down. Was it a failure of anybody? It was not failure of anybody. We don't know the reason yet now. But still the fire happens in the building. All this fire, it has happened through certain necessity. Somebody has left a cigarette butt like that, it has caught fire. Short circuit is a major reason for that one. And why short circuit happens is, you all know, adequate sizing of cabling is not done, or too many naked wires plugged into the socket, it is there. So some kind of an overheating is happening in the system. So all these things causes, because if it is a 5 amp socket, somebody is putting an 15 amps geyser onto that one, or an oven into that one. So these are all the things it might also possible. So nobody designs it to be a failure, but accidents do happen in the part of the life cycle.
For example, the movie that we watched recently, which is Trial by Fire. This movie is about this Upahar cinema tragedy which happened in Delhi, and the problem there was the fire exit doors were locked up and people got trapped inside the space. Also, if you go to these apartments high-rise apartments where refuge areas are actually treated as some kind of storage balconies. So the primary reason why the refuge areas are provided is for people to wait for rescue or help to arrive, some safe evacuation to happen. But when these refuge areas are made inaccessible, that is when the problem starts. These areas need to be kept smoke-free. They need to be kept fire-rated. In some places, they even insist that water provision is made for people who are waiting in that zone till the time the help arrives. So one is design, second is execution, and third is making sure that these spaces are kept intact to be utilized when they are required. So it has to be kept usable and intuitively understood by people who are living in those premises to put them to use. And these should not be just left as some regulatory checkboxes.
Next question is for Ms. Meghna. How do you balance maximizing FAR with fire safety in dense Indian cities?
It is a tightrope. All of these refuge areas and staircase areas are all add-on areas to the actual leasable, but they are also FAR free. So your refuge area that you're designing is not counted in FAR area and you get a breather. So safety is never to be sacrificed, and floor plans have to be designed, as I said earlier as well, with an intent of ensuring all the fire norms are contained in the design. But at the same time, every architect should work towards creating optimized leasable areas for the developers. And general design intelligence will allow both density to be addressed as well as the compliance to be followed.
One question is, how do local regulations and NBC address fire safety specifically for glass or cladding facade? So there are a couple of things which is specifically mentioned in NBC. So one is the use of non-combustible materials. So that is one thing which is mandatory. Second is the smoke vents or the operable panels, which acts as smoke extract in case of fire. So that one has to be mandatorily done on the facade. And the general thing is, like anybody sitting inside the office space or a commercial building, so there should be a smoke vent at least within at least 10 meters of from their reach. So that is one thing, and perimeter barriers, which we already discussed, and also the spandrel panel, which will avoid the leapfrog effects. So these are the regulations which are already there in the codes, and which has to be specifically followed for the glass facades. The other question is, what are the common weakness in facade system regarding fire safety and how can they be mitigated? So as I already told, so the codes are already there, and it's all about the implementation at the execution level, and the mitigation can be the periodic checks during the installations, and there are no gaps, and the manufacturers of the and suppliers of the material has to ensure that the right procedure is followed in installing these systems. Then the third question is BS certification issued for fire rated glass? So certification is, there are two things. One is the manufacturing of the material itself and the final installed product. So fire rated facade final installed product not only depends on the fire rated glass, but the complete system, including the frames or the hardwares. So if you are using sealants, gaskets, everything, so it is a complete system, and a manufacturer cannot guarantee that. It is the project consultant has to check that and verify, and it has to be certified at their level.
I'm getting this question which says, do evacuation strategies differ for hospitals, schools, and office towers? Absolutely yes, because offices focus on fast evacuations. Hospitals need more fire compartments because the patients don't move easily, and schools also will need wider staircases and regular drills. So every building type has a different strategy required for fire solution. One size just doesn't fit all. I would also insist that we should focus on active and passive fire protection, where active fire is going to suppress through sprinklers and extra and additional such equipments provided, whereas passive ways will include firewalls and 1 or 2 hours of waiting, where you can get enough time for people to evacuate. So in hospitals, it could be passive ways of fire protection, which would be more stressed upon, whereas for the others, it could be more active. So this is something I would want to work on. Yeah. Next.
There's one question. How do fire codes and regulations influence material selection and building layout?
Fire codes definitely, because it talks about combustibility, non-combustibility, that how much combustible it should be and kind of a thing. Yeah, like even your walls, what is the thickness it has to be, what is the load-bearing wall fire rating, what is a non-load-bearing wall fire rating, and everything is defined in National Building Code. And also the elements. I mean, elements means the materials what you use, like glass or a facade or partition, gypsum partition, or any kind of an plywood partition, or your furnitures, everything. It has a definition in National Building Code, and based on that one, the selection will also happen through. And the manufacturers also follows the national and IS codes. Any manufacturer will follow the IS codes to make his product viable in the market. So one-to-one relation, one-to-one internally connected. So yes, the definition is different. In a hospital, you cannot use certain thing. In a residential, you cannot adopt certain things. Both are there. Like an LPG, the gas connection in a hospital is very rare to see, or only it is limited to certain place. Or a compressed air supply, like an oxygen cylinder supply or a nitrogen supply, you can see it in a hospital, where it is not possible to be provided in the residential application. So the Visa means in this thing, means both the things are there, but it is defined in National Building.
This is another question I'm seeing. Are Indian authorities ready to enforce any kind of fire testing, facade fire testing, which is being done in buildings abroad in Dubai and London? Are we going to see any such enforced facade fire testing?
Not really, and currently National Building Code or Bureau of Indian Standards have not come up with any kind of a testing for the facade, both externally and internally kind of a thing. But we have to see forward in the further future days, anything coming up like that, because all the emphasis is given to the selection of material and type of material rather than third party, checking on that one. So as of now, nothing.
There's one last question. Are the emerging technologies that improve both sustainability and fire safety in MEP design?
Sustainability and fire safety go hand in hand. That there is no iota of doubt in that one. Or means earlier days it was, now it is whatever the paint what we use non-lead paint, or what is the welding rods what we use for welding other things. It is we use a high quality welding rod with a less or zero carbon discharge, and we are moving towards a no welding firefighting system. We are looking at a threaded and a groove fitting systems for the pipes to connect, and even the solid anything what we use, it is not having any kind of an implication onto the environment or the nature. The gas-based separation systems what we use which is not ozone depreciating, or we use there is no impact of that particular gaseous reaction on the environment. It is that kind of a gases only used. We use heptafluoropropane or fluoroketones or inert gases. So inert gases are only 75% of nitrogen. So, so several things have been taken here with and the sustainable measures and sustainable quotient is already followed here. It goes hand in hand. There is not much of an differences, or there is not much of an gap between each other. Coming days, it will be even more narrowed down, and we will see a better world tomorrow.
Prashanth, it's been really an interesting conversation. A lot of insight from your side, and Nandakumar, I thank you personally for making time for this conversation, and I'm sure it will open up a lot of inquisitive suggestions from people. Will get inquisitive about this and come up with a lot more questions in our next round of discussion. But I thank you both for your time, and I'm very excited to do the round two with the AECORD, and thank you, Kumkum.